Hello and welcome to your Heart's Path. My name is Faye. I'm here today to have a look at the month of June and just pass on any psychic and intuitive messages that my team have to share with you. Even though this is a collective energy reading, I'm going to invite you to sort of embrace this as something a little bit more personal. So maybe you want to imagine almost coming into the space and taking a seat with me, and we can explore this energy really gently today, as I think gentleness at the moment goes a long way. We'll start with this image that I can see almost like of a cauldron. As I walk in through the door of June, I can see like a big cast iron pot, and I can almost see this stirring that's sort of taking place. And metaphorically, I want to kind of have a look at this as almost like our own creation energy, this process of being partway through creation. It's almost like for some of you, you're waiting for a vision to land, you've got a sense in your being that something is coming, but it hasn't quite arrived yet. And this sort of emotion energy, there's a bit of fluidity to it. I'm going to say there's a lot of creativity, and it's something that's been kind of stewing for a long time. I think that this comes with the message of being patient, but also not giving up on yourself right now. Sometimes that process of creation needs a little bit more time. And in that time, we're sort of just tossing away the things that get in the way. And I mean, there's an opportunity to transform some self-doubt here. I do kind of feel that there has been some insecurities arising around the potential of a future vision and not really feeling clear about that. But I really just want to bring the message forward today to give you some confidence that it really is a one step at a time kind of thing. And the vision, look at it more of a destination, but the most important part is this stirring or the experience of life in between. Sometimes we even arrive at a vision and we don't even realize that we've gotten there, and it's something that we created previously because we've just kind of let go of attachment to the outcome. And I think that that's really helpful right now. It also frees up space to come back into a little bit more joy. And when we're in that space where we don't feel like we're forcing or we're pressing or we're pushing to that great big vision, you'll actually find that you come into that space of fluidity more easily. The water feels hot, and then just kind of bringing my attention to that. I think for some of you there is a boiling that's kind of taking place here. That boiling is really important because it is this sort of process of alchemy. For some of you that's cleansing. I know that we boil water to get out the impurities. It's also something that generates or creates steam. So we go through this beautiful process of alchemy. And for some of you, I think that this is it's kind of moving from one state of consciousness to another. So it's less about working toward a vision, but you're really leaning into this space of expansion and expanding into a higher consciousness, meaning that you're accessing higher dimensions within yourself, that there is a process of transformation taking place so that you feel more connected to your heart. I really feel like there's a lot of emphasis around heart at the moment. The heart feels like a really beautiful intention to connect with your heart, to explore your heart's path, as ironic as that sounds, to explore your tender parts. And I really just feel like there's a lot of generosity here. There's a lot more space for kindness. And there's a lot of these, there's almost like liberation of these feelings of compassion and heart-centered living. I think that there's room to be kinder to self and also to be kinder to other. But I think that this comes from that kind of inner voice as well, and that part of you that might feel separate from everybody else or separate from the greater picture. So some of this has been showing up in my own life as like duality-based consciousness, where I've looked at things as right or wrong, or hot or cold, or good or bad, and really standing steady in that middle ground, really shifting my direction to kind of come into the middle and be in that space of where it all exists. That space that feels almost a little bit more neutral, but also gives us a connection or the opportunity to view it from the bird's eye perspective, where there is no duality, all is one. And I think we've become aware in some aspects of life where we're feeling separate, and there is room for expansion and integration, but also a different perspective. So there is this really lovely perspective shift right now. I'm still watching this kind of stirring take place, and I think there's something else I've missed here around the heat. That can be too much heat in the body too, so that almost like for some of you there can be a cooling down. Too much heat looks like irritability, like frustration, we can start to get heady. It can be something that feels sort of itchy if you're feeling like your skin is really sensitive, but it's also kind of, to me, I want to soothe it. I want to bring some coolness into this space. And for some of you, that might be all the way through diet. For some of you, that might be that you're kind of like burning the candle at both ends. Too much fire can be quite destructive. So I sort of think that there's a tending to the heat internally. Some of you, that could be like hormonal, even experiencing things like hot flushes, or like your patience runs out really quick, or a little bit hot-headed. It's sort of these sort of pieces. So sort of know that it's kind of in the field right now. There's been a lot of big dumps of information, and when we've had big dumps of information, we need proper time for integration. So not only this direction into your heart, where you're finding that center from within, but really setting the intention to connect with your body now, and the wisdom of your body. It sort of feels like it's a nice time to be inspired by what's going on galactically, and having these lovely kind of downloads and things moving in. But again, that sort of higher picture, I kind of feel like, or that higher vision, I sort of feel like letting it go, and I want to direct downward. I think there's a lot of peace and tranquility that comes from this connection to the body. Beautiful time to go and get a massage. Beautiful time to send your attention to your bodily wisdom and just listen. I sort of feel like silence is celebrated right now. I'm really looking for those pieces in between. It's sort of like the top of the breath and the bottom of the breath. And if you're holding, you're going to realize that it kind of takes you up and out of body. So I think there's going to be a lot of conversations around disconnection. You might see that in your own field. You might notice where you are feeling disconnected with yourself, or from source, or from your heart. And all of that's okay. It's not to get stuck there in that space. It's just to realize the truth of your experience, and look at where you can bridge the difference, where there's an opportunity here, and to celebrate the fact that that's coming into your awareness in the first place. I also sense that that's a little bit of disconnection to the lower two chakras too. I'm kind of looking in through the base. I kind of feel like there is this real want and need for stability right now, but it's not there for a lot of you. I really want you to have a look at stability without the house and without the home. I want you to find this in your body and your being, so is that no matter where you are, you can create really that sense of safety. And let's take it from scaffolding that can even at times feel, a little bit wobbly or vulnerable to, its environment. Let's really put these lovely solid walls in. And that means a really kind relationship to your own being as well. But again, it's that connection to everything. It sort of highlights where you might feel separate from, or where you feel like your beam is kind of just not supported by the rest of your system. Wish I could show you what I'm saying, because it would make it much easier when it comes to translation. So just a really nice time to get in touch with your body. If you're in your practice and you're in a space where you're getting bored of your spiritual practice and you're kind of like, I don't know what to do next, it'd be a lovely intention just to listen to your body and the wisdom. Sometimes that's just noticing temperature. Sometimes it's noticing expansion and contraction. Sometimes it's not all this information. It's not sound, it's not pictures. Let's not get attached to any of that right now. And I kind of feel like just listening to your body, your organs, your blood, your breath, your heartbeat is this lovely soothing experience that gives your body energy. So that all this information that has been coming in can really trickle into all of your cells, into all of your centers, and that's where you'll start to see the upgrade. I just hearing in the back of my head, you don't have any choice other than to believe in yourself. In not believing in yourself, you're choosing not to believe in yourself. And we need to believe in ourselves in order to bring our vision into fruition, but also to be on this spiritual journey that does come with its challenges. So I sort of do feel like there's choice in words here. There's a hyper awareness around the realm of thought. So we're going to be noticing different ideas, different thought forms, but there's almost, again, like this space between, almost feeling separate from, and this symbolically doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a negative thing. It's almost this distance between you and the dialogue, you and the audience, you and the ideas, you and the information streams. And I sort of feel like that's a really beautiful thing just to observe right now. If that has become quiet, there can be some contemplation on what it is you want to affirm into the blankness, even just through use of things like affirmation, even through prayer, and getting clear as to what it is that I almost feel like what it is that you want, what it is that you need. My candle's just gone out, which is really interesting to me. And that's the part where they're rewriting things. I think this is really interesting. I kind of want to surrender to that right now. There's been a lot of emphasis and a lot of energy into the outcome, always working towards one thing. What's the big thing? What's the big picture? What's the big image? And some of that, is almost through my own filters, and I can flip that back and kind of have a look at this thing. And I almost sense it's looking at the truth of some of this and how much control we don't have, how we have the ability to come into alignment. We are the creators of our reality, but ultimately we're surrendering to the thing that we created before we came here anyway. So take the pressure off trying to get it right. And I think with that, this awareness of thought can be really interesting right now. You're given an opportunity not to let things stick. You're given an opportunity to do things here differently. And for some of you, that means that there is an expansion in your consciousness. For some of you, you're missing tools, you're missing resources, not just when it comes to your spiritual path and say things like your psychic gift space. You can come and learn from me. I'm doing enrollments for the House of Mystics at the moment, if that's something that appeals to you. But I sort of sense that there's like a bit of a knowledge gap here for some of you when it comes to your practice. I almost feel like there's some like missing links here. For some of you, it's going to be easeful. You can buy a book and kind of fill in the gap. For some of you, it's about tuning in and asking your own intuition. And for others, it's actually about creating that little piece, creating a practice, creating some artwork, creating a chunk of time where you get to connect and be in the unknown, and allow for the wisdom to kind of come through. But they're really talking about this from a direction space. It almost feels like it comes from within, like it already exists, it's already been downloaded. Some of this could be memory, something that comes from your soul, like information you've gathered from another time. I almost feel like it rises to the surface versus something that we need to go out and find. I also feel women, there's a big emphasis. So we had this kind of theme around disconnection, and that being something that's coming up a lot in conversation, in your own awareness. I also think there's a lot around the female body, sexual energy, but also hormones. I can sort of see the ovaries and the womb. I think there's conversations around this. There might be some new information coming out here, but I kind of feel like this too is deeply connected to our sacral, and that was mentioned previously, like these two chakras are sort of getting some different attention. I'm curious now as I speak into that, as whether some of this information or the downloads we've been having are to help upgrade this space, especially because I feel we have there's a lot of room for progress when it comes to these areas of our lives, and it's a huge part of our spiritual practice, regardless of whether we want to give it attention or not. Some of this does have to do with the direction of the energy, and that card says protection, a protection of your own potency, and having a look at, I guess, where there is a sense of aliveness and where there is not. I kind of feel for some of you, it's almost like there is like room to expand here. There is room to explore. But for whatever reason, I kind of feel like there's just some attention here. Perhaps this is coming up in your life where you're kind of having a look at your hormones, where you're having a look at your sexual health, where you're having a look at your intimate relationships. And I kind of feel like there's some room for some growth here, in the form of where you're directing your energy. Perhaps it's some knowledge to come through. Perhaps this is part of your practice. And perhaps this is, something that is here to help awaken you. So it's not something we can really turn away from, kind of like the realm of thought or the mind. At some point in time, it needs to be addressed. And that leads me to the physical body, because I really do feel like this is such a beautiful space to be connecting with this month. Really building a strong and healthy relationship with your physical body. Some of that comes through just observing how you experience the world. And I know we talk a lot about withdrawing from the senses, and not being distracted by them, but there's also an element of enjoyment here. So your relationship with food can be highlighted right now. especially if you have sabotage patterns around that, or you've wanted to make change but you haven't felt like you've had the capacity to. I sort of sense there's these like micro little bursts of energy that just kind of has got this like, I'm just going to give it a crack kind of thing. I'm just going to choose to believe that I can give this a go. And I think this is about improving your health and well-being. Not so much this like biohacking thing. I mean, I'm into that. I really am. I just feel like there are certain themes that or fads that we go through as a collective, and some of them are going to work for you and some of them aren't. So I think this is a very intuitive piece too, but this feels like a long-standing piece. They're sort of saying it's been something that's been sitting there for a while. Maybe you've wanted to do a particular cleanse, or you know that you need to cut gluten out of your diet, or you're not drinking enough water, so you buy a big drink bottle and you intend to drink it every day. There's sort of just like a little micro practices and this feeling of like, come on, this needs to happen now. And I think having some discipline and just putting some of that I guess where the ego's sort of got control over some of these patterns of behaviours, surrendering that over and really giving it a go. And this allows for, you know, better vibrancy, it allows for clearer connection and communication, but it can also start to shed fatigue for some people. I do believe that fatigue can be a bit of a byproduct of this heat that we spoke of, and having too much of that in the system for too long, with this feeling of burnout. And it can also be, you know, the body wanting your attention and your energy and saying, hey, listen, this isn't working for me. So we need to trust the body. We need to trust it. We need to take care of it physically. We need to take care of it emotionally. We need to take care of it mentally. And all of that is what allows for us to enter into our body's wisdom, or into our intuition with more clarity. So I do sort of sense that we've got some opportunities here this month to really make the most of this and to get the ball rolling. It can be the thing that kind of changes things for a lot of you, can improve your confidence. And I just think it feels really beautiful. Some of you, this is sleep, like just picking a bedtime and choosing, even if you don't feel tired, to go to bed at that time. I think sleep is something that's been hugely affected. As we've had lots of kind of changes, they're sort of showing me like the field of the outside of the earth, and you know, there's a lot going on. We've got satellites, we've got, you know, all sorts of other things, lots of information. The nervous system has been tested, and I sense that sleep is kind of something that has been affected for a lot of you. We have this opportunity right now to kind of, what is that? The circadian rhythm, like to reset that energy, to start to sleep more deeply. And with that, I think we lead into a space where the dream space becomes more vivid. There are lots of messages coming in through dreams, and the art of symbology, or the art of translating your dreams, trickles over into your everyday life. It gives you this place for contemplation, and to start asking questions about the language of the soul. And if they don't make any sense to you whatsoever, there can be that separation between you and your true self in your everyday life. So trust your interpretation of your dreams and the messages that are really coming through. They're very personal to you. Not everybody dreams in the same way, which is why sometimes it's nice to Google that stuff, and but it's more empowering to explore that for yourself. I think I'm just going to come to a bit of a close. I really didn't want to spend too long on any of this today. As I said, I think a really gentle approach is really beautiful this month. A lovely time for conversations with the people you love, the people you feel close to. Conversation feels really soothing, even though I've emphasized and guided you towards spaces of quietness and wisdom. Part of that listening is listening with deep presence, and having conversations and spending time with people in silence too, looking at other ways that you communicate intimately with other, and what ways feel really nourishing and soothing to you. Because you might be someone that wants to spend time with people, but you don't really feel like talking, so it might be to go and do a yoga class or something. I like this card. I think this is really beautiful. I think there are different perspectives coming in around wealth in itself. I do feel this energy of generosity. Some of you, it's over giving. So there's kind of like an adjustment there that needs to take place. But I also feel that we're kind of got a bit of an emphasis on time. We're looking at energy exchange. And some of this can be kind of having a look at what it is that we're actually asking for in our day-to-day, based on the conversation we're having with Source or Creator or God, or whatever you want to call that energy. What are you calling in? Sometimes we don't make time for that, or you go into a space of prayer and you don't know what to say. It's nice to gain some clarity there, even if it's teach me how, show me where I can contribute. you know, it's a different kind of conversation, but there are different perspectives coming in around this. Please make sure that you're approaching this topic or this subject around wealth in particular through a clear lens, or clear out the lens so as that you can see it really clearly. I kind of feel like there are upgrades and opportunities here. You can see these lovely, almost like little downloads in the cards that are kind of trickling through. There's a little bit of a detachment from materialism, which is really lovely here. Feeling less like it just doesn't really matter about stuff. Kind of feel like there's a bit of detachment there, which is kind of nice. Not recklessly. It's nice to embrace beauty. I think that's a lovely medicine. It's came up in somebody's session yesterday, that going through a hard time and feeling sort of like the weight, the stuckness and the stickiness, but being able to hold that higher perspective that we spoke about before, where we're not going into that duality-based consciousness, where we're repositioning in that awareness. I've been leaning into or judging or being in a space of negativity or calling this wrong, and how do I get into center and reconnect with my heart, and then expand into that bird's eye view, into unity consciousness where there's perfection in everything, and that way we get to see the way through. We bring movement, we bring light, and we bring clarity. And clarity right now has a potential to be amplified. I think this is a really lovely way to kind of end the session, knowing that there are micro movements and these different perspectives that are landing right now, that for some of you is going to create more abundance. For others, it's going to be more wisdom. For others, it's going to be this kind of passion and this beautiful fire where you feel that illumination of your own mission here. But a lot of this is done with presence. Presence is going to be rewarded. That's where you feel your support. It's where you connect to your intuition. And it's really like slowing down in order to speed up. The things that hold us back right now are kind of attachments to the past, reminiscing on the past. Every time you pause and stop looking back to the past. I think we've had a lot of education, intuitive knowings around direction, where we're sending our attention and our energy, and we've been in a space ready to reposition. That means stepping into greater authenticity too, being really honest with ourselves and with other people. And in those moments where you have the ability to contribute, to do so from a place where your cup feels full yourself, and making sure that the source of where you express, the source of where you give, the source of where you serve, the source from where you create, the source from where you cook, the source from the source, like what is the source of where I am operating from, that we're intending to do this from the heart as deeply as we possibly can. People that are feeling disconnected from their heart are going to be really aware of this right now. So again, set the intention to put your energy in that place and just listen. You don't have to gather a heap of information. And we're at the very end of May. For those of you who are interested in developing your psychic abilities, receiving support on your spiritual path through guidance, and also developing this relationship with your intuition, which really is a skill set. The House of Mystics, which is my homeschool for intuitively sensitive, is open for enrollments at the moment. The early bird is coming to a close at the very end of June. So if you did see this today, you would be able to come on through with those discounts and different payment plans. If you're out the other side of that, the doors are still open. We don't start till October, so there's plenty of time for enrollment, but it's forming a really beautiful group. This is a wonderful space not only to explore your psychic abilities and experience them, because a lot of what I teach is, yes, information, but it's something that we experience and we try on together. There's a lot to explore. This is everything that I've been learning, not only just for this life, but lifetimes too. All of these teachings don't come out of books. They come from conversations I've had with my own guides, things that I've applied to my own life that work for me, that allow for me to tune in and offer guidance. But psychic abilities is what our connection and communication with energy. And energy takes us closer to the truth. The truth is obviously love and who we are. And it's such a beautiful space. And with that, you will also develop a relationship with your higher self and the potential with your spirit guides, if that's something that you're ready for. You'll learn to clean your energy. We do lots of different hygiene tools and techniques, but we're having a look at the reason as to why that stuff comes in the first place. You'll explore the astral plane. You'll understand the systems that create our reality, really. And just be able to work with yourself more effectively. So it's a really beautiful group. It goes over 4 months, but we have a 2-week break over Christmas. So it's 3.5 months of live classes with lots of bonus material and things on the platform now. So if you are to register, there's already some stuff you can dive into right away. I'm going to stop there. Obviously, readings are open too, one-on-ones. You can find all that information through my Instagram on my website. It's listed below. It's really lovely to catch up with you. Thanks for being here today. Please leave a little comment. It really helps me. Share this if there's someone you think this will resonate with. Hit the like and subscribe button, as we say. It's much appreciated and it does really help me. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Lots of love.